Let's continue system design. So today we are going to talk on one of more software designs patterns and style. In the last session we talked about the monolith architectures, and today we are going to talk service oriented architectures. Okay, so from the definition perspective, what do you mean by service oriented architecture? This is also one of the software design principles or patterns that define the structures of an application. So let's say I'm going to build one application or system. So what is the structures or layout of that? Okay, so they define the structures of an applications as a collections of services that communicate with each other. Here the objective of this service oriented architectures, whatever the customer requirement, you build the separate services, and these services are communicate to each other to meet the customers or business requirement. So this architectures is logically play a very important role in the software industries. You can say early is you can say 2000 near about. This architecture was really very famous, and many applications are built using the service oriented architectures. Still many places and situations where these service oriented architectures also fit, and currently lots of applications are still using. Okay, so let's talk basic definition of this service oriented architectures, or sometimes is SOA. It is the architectural style that defining an application as a collection of services that access are used by another applications or services. So here you can say whatever the application you are going to build, don't build the complete applications as a single monolith application. Let's build the separate services on the basis of customer function, and these services, if want to meet the complete use case of the customer with the communication of another microservices or another services, not sorry microservices. So here all the services are communicated to each other. Might be these services can be communicated to another application as well as, or this application may be communicate another third party application as well as. So here one service need data or message from another service, they are talk to each other, they are communicate to each other. Sometimes our exposed services are also used by another services in my same application or maybe in other application. So objective of each services is designed such a way to perform a specific business capability. So here service means one service for a specific business entity, and that can be accessed through the standardized interface. And this whatever the business capability, might be business capability, payment processing, business capability, maybe your can be product management. These are the different business capability. So here service is not just like a code, but this service is designed for a specific business use cases, business capability. This whatever the service you build, this service can be accessed through standardized the protocol, standardized the definition, not any open source. Because once we are building service oriented architecture, we have to follow very stringent protocols to communicate services to each other. So here there are some basics concept about this service oriented architecture. So whatever the service oriented architectures you are going to build, the basic and most critical components here is services. Just as we discussed, services for the specific business use case, specific business capability, that is autonomous self-contained module that provide a specific business capability. So one service for a specific one business capability, and they are communicate services are communicated by a standard interface. Here is the SOAP, also is the one standard protocol, okay, through which generally all the service oriented architecture services are communicated to each other. They have finalized standard entry point for accessing any services. This SOAP is the very standard format how the service are communicated to each other, okay. And while communicating one service to another service, okay, they follow the standard protocol like a SOAP protocol, and communicating that means they are exchanging some data messages between the services. So there is also challenges. This is the let's see, this is the I am provided one service provided expose one services, okay, another services. You have exposed lots of services to the for the business application. So here how one service to know another service, yeah, how one service know where the another service is deployed, how we can consume them. So there is a concept of here service registry. So here whatever the service you are going to build, all and every services are going to register on the service registry. Hey, this is the one payment service, this is the product service, this is the customer profile service. So each services are going to register itself as a service registry. And any other application, this is my application want to talk to this specific services, so they are going to first find out, hey service registry, I want to communicate to the product management services. So he provide the complete URL how then this service going to communicate to there, what are the protocol, where the define, what are each and everything. So service registry play a two role. One role to contain as a metadata of every services which are independently autonomous or different business capability are built. So everyone going to register, inform about his metadata, where this service is deployed, what are the URL, what are the request parameter, what are the standard, everything. So here this service registry, and every client, anyone want to communicate or another service want to communicate, they are going to talk, hey service registry, tell me I want to communicate this service, look like, and then they are routed to, hey, now you can go look like here. So this is a service registry play a very important role, where repository of available all the services and their interfaces. And sometime our multiple services are communicating to each other via directly using the service bus. So in this infrastructure service oriented concept, there is a enterprise bus also concept, where the infrastructure that allow to service communicate over the each other. So here these services can directly communicate to different using protocol, XML protocol or SOAP protocol, to the different microservices. So these are the generally basics about the service oriented architecture, where the basic four most important component is the services and the pre-standardized interface communication protocols, data exchanges between this, and service registry. The service registry know every services that are currently working, what the interface, and the communication channel infrastructure that allow the service can to communicate to each other. So here service bus is the provide the communication channel, right? So how one service communicate to another service. So if you talk the basic architectures of this service oriented architectures, so these are the basic most terminology, you can say whenever you talk service oriented architecture, there is a one key is the service provider. In a service oriented architecture means your business, your products are built on the form of independent autonomous services. So one is the service provider, which are responsible to offer the services via the standard interface, so press, XML, JSON, all of that. And second component would be your service consumer. If we are offering set of services, someone might be going to the consume. So might be we have a service consumer that can consume my services, right? And one is the service registry. Might be we have exposed 10 number of services. Okay, so as a service consumer, very confused, might be service consumer only called to a specific microservice, specific services. So they don't need to aware each and every services, what are the interface, what are the URL, how they are communicate. So instead of consumer going to directly search out or directly know every information about the service provider, instead service consumer talk to the service registry. Service registry know every metadata about all the services which are running, and every service provider is going to register ourselves with the service registry. And as a if no, what are the communication parallel? Service bus is the standard communication channel between the services. And sometime we are use the terms adapter. Adapter means that might be your one services are developed in a different technology, another service is developed in a different technology, how they are talk to each other. So might be some places we have to define some adapter exchanging the data communication format. So sometime we have to use the connect services by the service bus. The service bus is the also play a role to allow adapter between the different services. So these are the basic architectures, you can say, where look like your service provider providing lots of services, your service consumer going to consume services. So here lots of services, 1 2 3 4. The service consumer directly don't aware which service I am going to call, service available or not available. So couple of services you are deployed here, so service consumer, instead of directly accessing, knowing every information, all the services, they are going to approach your service registry. The service registry, first service consumer going to talk your service registry. Service registry know, hey, and every service provider register ourselves as a in the service registry. The service registry have a metadata history of the all services which are running and what are the standard protocol, standard interface they are communicate. Once service consumer going to talk service registry tell us, hey service consumer, this is your interface and you can communicate ABC service. After that they are established the communication channel using the service bus. They are one using the service consumer going to talk to the service provider. And many sometimes our different services also want to communicate to each other, so then they can use the service bus. This service want to talk to another service, so here service bus going to say, hey, I want to talk to service 2, and this service going to here play. So here sometime maybe use the our service bus that's communicate between the services, as well as play a different adapter. Maybe one service developed in a different technology sets, they want to communicate different language, yeah, message exchange, they returning the XML data and they are consuming the JSON format. Okay, so sometime you need a adapter. You have to mention adapter in the service bus, the enterprise service bus, where lots of services are communicate via your enterprise service bus. So this is the one enterprise service bus, and in this service bus lots of protocol, different services, maybe one technology services, another technology services, another technology services, another technology services, another technology, lots of services they want to communicate via the. So this service, A service want to talk to the C service. So they are not directly going, hey, they are going to the service bus, and service bus make a link communication between the bus service C. The ESB or service bus play a very critical role where you are going to communicate, your one service going to communicate another services. That services may be developed in a different infrastructure, different technology, different environment, still they are able to communicate because they have a service oriented architecture, follow the very standard protocols, and they have a lots of adapter concept where if the input format is the different, JSON format, XML format, some different format, adapter play a role to make the established communication between the cross language developed services as well as. So here service oriented architecture, the benefit is that different kind of services, whatever the services available, our service can communicate, our service can exchange data between them. The major communication established done by your service bus. A service bus will also play one kind of adapter between the cross language service communication. So these are the standard, you can say standard protocols. Generally they are very rigid, and SOAP services we have to follow. This help us to communicate. So here in the standard SOAP based services, first we have to define the contract, our web service description language, WSDL. WSDL is a standard XML language where we have to define my service URL, my service port, my service request, my service response, request detail, response detail, and what kind of protocols. Each and everything are defined in the WSDL file, web service description language. This is the very standard, and due to this different services are communicate. Even these are the written in simple XML and can be services developed in a .NET, developed in a Java, developed in a different language. Still they are talk because every language follow this standard WSDL protocols. The WSDL is a standard interface or contract between the service provider and Sanjay. Let's say I am a service provider and service consumer. So how service consumer know what kind of things, what can be a protocol, what the URL, what the services, what the request, what the response, what kind of customer request you want, everything. So first service provider expose one WSDL document, WSDL. This WSDL is available for the service consumer, and service consumer first read this WSDL document and then understand, hey, these kind of your this is your service, this is your protocol, this is your message format, this is your request input, this is the response input. Everything here we can define in the WSDL file. So WSDL files is the contract between the service provider and service consumer. Both follow the same way so that communication easily happen. And once they know this is the standard your definition, then also service oriented architecture provide one of the standard protocols like a SOAP, like HTTP protocol, FTP protocol. Similarly for the service oriented architecture, they are defined standard protocol, service simple object access protocol. Here this protocol for exchanging structured information between the services. Here well-defined structure, that's already defined the structure in your WSDL file. So whatever you define in WSDL file, the same structures as a simple object in the protocol, complete object are travels from one machine to another machine, yeah, one services to another services. And later part also we have standardized some REST format, representational state transfer as well as. So this is the architecture style for designing the networks application. And sometimes the messages, what kind of messages are exchanged between these protocols, most probably nowadays using the JSON format, JavaScript object notation, or XML format, extensible markup language. So these JSON or XML is the data format where one services are sending some data to the another service. So generally maybe XML based or maybe JSON based. Nowadays which are generally applications are using JSON based. But if you talk the 20-year back, when these protocols started using service oriented architecture and SOA protocol, so at that time XML was extensively used. XML and JSON is these are the two standard data format where they are send message data from one service to another service. So these are the standard you can say protocols. Standards like WSDL is the WSDL file standard, and SOAP is our protocol by the service oriented architecture. And these are additional informations represent REST protocols, and similarly what kind of messages or data exchange between this protocol. Preferable at that time was XML, but nowadays application prefer to send in the form of JSON. So if you talk the use cases of the service oriented architectures, so generally all the legacy system integration are very good example where your lots of legacy system is still going, and now your applications want to communicate to each other. So here service oriented architecture play a very important role. Sometime one service have a different kind of a communication channel, one have a different kind of communication channel, one have a different kind of a communication channel. So here also multi-channel support. Service oriented architectures are saying provide the services for the different channel, web based, mobile based, application based, FTP based, SOAP based, any kind of communication you can establish. And generally sometime you have a different kind of a big organizations with different business process. If you want to business process automation, so service oriented architectures for the enterprise application, larger application where lots of business capability and each business process have some different flow to complete, and in those scenario you want to make communication autonomous between everything, automate business process, where the your service oriented architecture also play a very good role. And even sometime you are the real-time data processing, and nowadays service oriented architecture are extended one more format. Later part we will discuss about the microservice architecture. So implement the microservice architecture in the SOA principle. So using the SOA we can also build the microservice architectures as well as. So if we talk what kind of additional, if we follow these service oriented architecture principle, so we have take the following benefits with the, so our systems, whatever the services you are building, services are become very loose couple. The services are independent and they are loose couple. Even they are a different technology, different maybe this is developed in the C language, this is developed in the .NET, this is developed in the Java language, any different language, different platform you can use to develop these services. And due to the standard definition, a standard interface between that and a standard protocol, due to that still the different language, cross language applications or services still able to communicate, still able to talk to each other. So one benefits, the systems are loosely coupled, and reusability, because services can be reused across the multiple applications. So might be your one services you are built for a specific use case, but this services can be later used for another application, another system, same, because these are the very a specific business capability they build. This business capability might be need another client and other applications. Similarly, flexibility here you can also get, because easy to add and remove services as needed. So here sometimes you want to add more functionality, more business process. Yes, because you have already your service bus, and here let's currently our 4 services are able to meet the customer requirement. Okay, that's good. Later part you think, hey, I want to add more services, you can just add more services, and all the communication channels are communication between the different your services happen through the services bus and the adapters. So their systems are more flexible, and even you want this kind of design scalable, service can be scaled independently. Multiple services, you can add more services, because your ESB is a so dynamic nature. They can support multiple protocol, multiple exchange format, multiple services. And why this is also because we are following this some well-defined interface between the service provider and service consumers, and we follow standard protocols. So they make a standardizations of the interface facility for the integration. Due to that, different nature of application is still able to integrate to each other, because here in the service-oriented architecture we follow very specific standard interface document in the form of WSDL and the form of your SOA protocols. So if we are developing our application with the help of service oriented architectures, so these are the benefits our application automatically take. So still lots of benefits, lots of advantages, but we have to also think there would be some challenges and limitation. That means these architectures play a good role the specific situation, specific use case we discuss, but they are not fit for other many places as well. As so while discussing with the customer requirement, we have to think everywhere you cannot apply the service oriented architectures. So there are some kind of limitation with this as well. As first, about the complexity, service oriented architecture is not so simple like other. They have need some kind of extra works intelligence and experienced person. They can work in the service oriented architecture. Due to that, and they introduce multiple kind of complexity in the system, like a service registry, like a service provider, like service consumer, like service buses, like adapter. So lots of you can say simple services are integrated to each other, that make our some level of complexity. Basically, if you are going to dealing the large scale kind of systems, and here sometime we face the problem with the integrating services from the different system and vendor, that can be challenges. So many times our application going to interact with the different kind of mainframe system or different channels. So here we have to write some more adapter to make the smooth communication or integration between the different nature of services as well. As so this is also sometime we have to play a different strategy, different kind of additional work required to integrating the system that's drastically different, the channel different in the networks. Because our systems are going to interact the different system, a different kind of outside application, third-party applications. So here we have to apply some kind of governing services and ensure the consistency and quality. That will be sometimes difficult as well. As and sometimes we have to, some application is very simple, but this is the very large scale application, lots of services, lots of communication. So might be service oriented architecture system introduce your performance overhead over the simple service calls, you can say, because here are lots of conversion, adapter apply, lots of service discovery, additional steps our request have to perform. Due to that, little bit system performance you can overhead you can find, and sometimes you also face some kind of security issue, because now you are exposing to our system, our application can talk to another application, another networks, they are also communicate to each other with the standard protocol, but there are some drawbacks, some problem with the security, authentication, authorization. Some data are exchanged between the services that are not very right for that. So we have to again be carefully design secure services and protecting against the attack while the exchanging data or messages on the internet on the ESP layer. So these kind of limitations and challenges we have to know of these architectures. And if we talk about the industries which are currently already providing such services, develop some services, good talk about the AWS. Amazon Web Services provide the range of services like S3, EC2, Lambda. Notice all are different services that's still can provide on a one platform as a complete AWS platforms. So internally they are all developed as a services, independent services. Still they are communicating to each other. Sometime our S3 is a different services can communicate to the EC2, can to communicate to the Lambda. So these are the different services, and they are also interact to each other sometime needed. So that can be built very scalable and flexible application with the help of service oriented architectures. Even the Google cloud platform also offer the multiple services like the computing engine, storage, cloud function that can using the build to the cloud native applications. All the nowadays you can say cloud provider like Microsoft Azure also providing the range of services. Maybe you can know the virtual machine, storage, virtual function, Azure function, that's builder. So these all the services internally are built on the as well as some services on the service oriented architecture. Independently different S3 services, different nature, different business. EC2 have a different, Lambda have a different. So they are built separately services, and later part they can communicate to each other. Similarly, if we talk about other like Salesforce also provides a variety of services like sales cloud, marketing cloud, service cloud that can be used to build in our CRM. The CRM is a one applications, and but from this application, lots of services internally Salesforce have built independent. They are communicate using the your service bus are to meet the CRM product portal. So similarly, banking and financial services, many bank and financial services nowadays using the service oriented architecture to integrate their legacy system to provide the new services to the customer, such as the online banking and mobile banking. So notice in banking domain, lots of mainframe old system, different places data available. So all the systems we are not going to build in the new environment. Instead, we are building considering as different services, and we are building adapter, how they are communicate, how they are talked by the service bus. And nowadays service oriented architecture is highly used in the banking domains as well as our financial domain as well as, and even go to the logistics and transportation system, where also you found these are the if you talk like here any transportation utility also use the service oriented architecture to integrate the system. So here the objective of the SOA is the most nowadays popular still due to the variety of integration they support. Different nature, different kind of applications are integrate and even to communicate to each other. Even nowadays lots of technology development happen, still these integrations between the services, the service oriented architectures offer, which are still many places still happening. Okay. So if we talk about the applications in the real words that are using online shopping system, the e-commerce application use the service oriented architecture to integrate the product catalogs, inventory management, payment processing, shipping services. So all the different independent microservice, different services you can say, they are communicate to each other using the different standard protocol services. So even your travel booking kind of applications. Also, you travel booking website use the service oriented architecture to integrate the flight search, hotel booking, rental car services, because nowadays while the booking travel anything, flight book or something, you also want to book hotel, you want to book the rental car services. So these are the flights booking, the search is the different services, hotel booking is the different services, rental car is the different service. Now these are different services, different kind of nature of business. Is still as a consolidated website, travel bookings allow as a customer the benefit of search, flight searching facility, flight booking facility, even hotel booking facility, even a car booking facility. It is possible because they are using internally service oriented architectures of the integrate to the different services. Even here hotel booking system may be developed in the different languages, different technology sets. Flight search is the different, maybe rental car build the different technology sets. Still for one umbrella travel booking system we need all three. So that means the different services, different kind of nature of business, still they are integrate to each other by the SOAP interface. Similarly, if you talk about the healthcare record, healthcare organization also is the service oriented architecture to integrate its patient record, billing system, medical emergency services, all things. And also very important, nowadays all the supply chain managements, also all the retail company use the service oriented architecture to integrate this supply management chain system with the supplier, logistics, supplier, provider, consumer, everything. So think service oriented architecture play a very critical roles while integrating different nature of business, different vision of services, where they are easily talk to the different services and offering. The integration is the one of the key features of service oriented architecture. Still lots of big scale application on older systems, legacy system want to offer services with a new technology. So the variation between the older system, older technology, older format of data, you want to expose on the mobile apps, newer form of data. So here you want to make an integration between exchanges, messages between the newer technology to older technology. That where integrations of service oriented architecture play very critical roles. If you talk to developing such application, what kind of tools and technology available for us? Yes, lots of good vendors providing the very smooth technologies for us, where we can start building our application, making service oriented architecture and ESP kind of things. Like if you talk about the here your IBM WebSphere is the different tools ID, they help us to build the service oriented architectures. Yes, everything so suit for the software product that for the building and integrating services. So here IBM WebSphere help us to define your complete business process and building the different services, and later part you can apply the integration patterns and integration architecture to integrate these services. So everything that's offered by the IBM WebSphere tool sets. Similarly, also Oracle have a SOA, service oriented architecture suite, that a comprehensive suite of software products that help us to building a services and integrating these services as well. Even you talk about the Microsoft also have a WCF, Windows Foundational Window Communications Foundation, where help define a framework for building the web services and the integration between them. Even talk about the Apache access to also the open source framework for building the web services and integrate them. Lots of, you can say, tools and technical. Apache CXF is also open source framework for building web services. Spring Boot initially also about offer Java based frameworks that building a web services and communication between the services. very highly famous about the MuleSoft. MuleSoft is basically providing some lots of kind of integration. They define the lots of patterns, integration pattern integrations. The mechanisms define the MuleSoft multiple kind of ESB enterprise bus, different kind of architectures, different nature of businesses. They are going to very smoothly integrate. So here the MuleSoft is a very good integration platform for building and integrating API and services. Even older technology, newer technology, different format, different protocol. One application support HTTP, one application support XML, one application support the FTPs, one application support the different protocol. So all kind of applications we have already built. Now this Mule software will allow the integration platform. Here you can integrate different natures of services, nature of businesses. So integration, complete purely integration platform. The MuleSoft also provide highly used in the large scale. The older technology still continue going on, and they are work with the latest new technology where the integration required. So in the think, all the places where integration requires, you need a SOA based integration platforms. Good example, let's talk about this Oracle reference articles. They have play how the microservices and web services help us to build the enterprise application and enterprise integrations between the services. If you not, I'm whatever the things we discuss, everything here mentioned, but just I'm trying to say here, if whatever we discuss, like here the basics of the service oriented architecture is the find, bind, execute patterns. Like first find our, if service consumer going to talk to the any service provider, the first they are going to the finding from the service registry, and after that bind and execute pattern. This is known as find, bind, execute pattern. Every service provider going to register itself, right? Similarly, what it is. Similarly, for the developing web services as a Java environment, Java provide the kind of standard specification Java API for XML, JAX. So here JAX used for developing the even the what kind of a WSDL format, WSDL for the XML based Java API, you can say. So here lots of specification, you can say JAX P 1.2, JAX RPC even 1.11. Similarly, JAX for XML registry, JAX for your SOAP with attachment protocol. Sometimes you want to SOAP with a similarly. This is a complete JSR 109. So lots of standard as a Java community provides how we are building this the standard protocol, and you follow the standard definitions so that your services build properly and integrated to each other as well as. Okay. Even same as if you want to implement the JAX RPC or JAX R, so here maybe your web service provider can just publish our services to the web service registry and web service client, whatever the web service client, uses JAX R protocol to communicate to the your service registry, your discovery server, sometimes a registry, sometimes a discovery, and once after that they can bind the protocol using the JAX RPC protocol, and after that they can going to start the communication between. So lots of even two different kind of services. This is our client, and this is our your service provider. So they are communicating, exchanging messages between the different services via the SOAP protocol. This is Java client, this is your enterprise applications. They are offering, hey, you can communicate with the proper message. So lots of you can say here also mention what kind of challenges to moving out the SOA, and these are the different kind of protocols where maybe SOAP protocol, SMTP protocol, JCA protocol, SS2, JMS, lots of enterprise protocols where your applications are built, maybe different kind of a business engine, maybe rule engine, transformation engine, pattern message, other lots of EJB container, different container, they are communicate with the standard messages. So these are the kind of, you can say, standard one project where they mention complete kind of services are integrating with the normalized services, maybe the node WSI binding, FTP, JMS, HTML, HTTP, access2, and they are communicating with the legacy engine, maybe routing engine, business process engine, document transformation, etc. Lots of business, you can say. In this is the kind of architectures document where this enterprise application integration platform play a very significant role, you can say. So you can say these are the service oriented architectures is the is application building style and pattern which help us to integrate or first build different services, maybe build new services, or maybe you can build new services or any existing your application or any existing older form application or older application, different domain, different kind of technology, different kind of applications, still using the your integration platform, your service oriented architecture. We are define the bus, enterprise integration bus. They are just talk to the your enterprise bus, and these services simply integrate to the work with the bus, and bus is responsible. Hey, they want to talk with the adapter with this microservice, they want to talk with this adapter using this microservices, they want to communicate to the different, maybe this is different protocol, HTTP protocol, they want to FTP, they are a SOA protocol, they want to XML protocol, different protocol exchange. So here kind of adapter which help us to even cross language, cross platforms, your system, legacy system, old system is still able to communicate your mobile device, your new web applications or mainframes, still older applications, because they have a data, they want to exchange data to the newer format, newer technology. All thing is possible using the integration platform, enterprise integration bus. For that we have a standardized technology available, tools available, software available that help us to exchange messages, exchange data, talk older system to the newer system, older system to older system, newer system to newer system, different technology, different protocol, different application, different domain, different nature, everything is still using the service oriented architecture. They can integrate, they can talk to each other. So these are very useful principle, or you can say software designing patterns or architectural styles where you are going to build independent services in the different technology, different natures, different domain, different business, but still all they are able to integrate using the integration platform. Service oriented architectures offer very strong integration style, enterprise application bus, where lots of applications are different protocol, different technology, cross domain, cross application, cross technology, is still able to integrate, is still able to exchange messages, maybe JSON messages, maybe XML messages, maybe document format, in different format as well as. So adapter play a very important role to make stable, make integration between the different domain, different language, different protocol, everything. So hope this will give you little bit information about the service oriented architectures and the service bus or enterprise bus, or you can say integration platform. Sometimes say service oriented architecture is the architecture that's allow different services are integrate to each other. So whatever the customer you are going to discuss for the system designing, and customer already have some old systems, old data, different nature of data, different format of data, and those data you want to use the new application, new technology, so might be you need the integration system between the legacy system, old system with a new system. So this architecture, service oriented architecture, where integrations patterns really help us to use the latest technology, mobile application, modern applications, and display data from the older system, from the legacy system, from the mainframe system. So these integration frameworks or architecture help us. So service oriented architecture is the integration framework or architectures or a platform that help us to establish, integrate cross nature of the application of the services. Thank you for watching this.